Yields, gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Huizenga, recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm going to jump right into this. I have a few topics that I'd like to cover. Given the recent finalized rule by the SEC over the climate-related disclosures, I thought perhaps we could explore how decision-making internally has influenced decisions being made by American regulators. On November 29 of 2023, the Basel Committee issued a paper on what they call a Pillar 3 disclosure framework for climate-related financial risks as part of its, quote, holistic approach to address climate-related financial risks to the global banking system, close quote. The Basel Committee said its work was to, quote, further its mandate to strengthen the regulation, supervision, and practices of banks worldwide with the purpose of enhancing financial stability and the potential design of such a climate framework, close quote. Sounds like awesome work. But in that paper, the Basel Committee said it was exploring disclosure requirements that included bank deposits and risks posed to banks if depositors and others are, quote, impacted by climate-related financial risks and may require drawdown of their deposits. So Deputy Director Billingsley, does the FDIC agree with the Basel Committee that it's important to consider imaginary climate-related bank runs as a possible source of financial instability? And if so, what is the reason and evidence for why we will see bank runs being caused by climate change?
At the FDIC, we're really focused on the financial risk associated with climate change. So we're really focused on how climate-related financial risk could feed into the traditional
Okay, so that's my question. What is the reason and evidence why we would see bank runs being caused by climate change?
Yeah, I think the disclosure requirements you just cited, I don't think necessarily get into the details of that, but I think it's important to note that the disclosures you're talking about, we got a lot of comments back on those. I think the comment period at the Basel Committee ended like last week or week before last, so I'm expecting to have some good discussion.
So you need to review the comments before you're able to answer that?
No, I just think that the comments we receive, particularly from U.S.-based entities, will be helpful.
Well, you might as well leave your mic on. But why aren't you able to then answer my question?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Well, for the third time, what reason and evidence is there that you believe that there will be bank runs related to climate change? You just told me, you gave me gobbledygook first, then you told me, well, we're getting a bunch of comments in that will be helpful. I asked whether you could answer my question or not, and you asked me to repeat the question.
So I'm not aware of a bank run.
Imagined scenario?
I'm not aware of a bank run.
Okay, well, it took 3 attempts, but thank you. In a Fed research paper authored by an official who serves as co-chair of the Basel Committee's Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Risks, an idea called double materiality was analyzed. The idea seems to be that bank supervisory authorities should consider both the risks that banks face from climate change themselves and any impacts of bank actions, such as to whom and where they lend on climate change. So, for example, if a perfectly legal and financially healthy producer of a product that the Fed might think is a so-called, quote, brown sector, got a loan from a bank, maybe the Fed would want the bank to view the loan as riskier because the Fed thinks that they are creating products that could potentially cause, in the future, more wildfires or harsh storms or things like that. Is that something that FDIC also agrees with?
No. So the issue you raised about double materiality is not within our mandate.
Okay. Director Gibson, under the guise of safety and soundness, what would prevent the Fed in the future from using existing authorities to change bank supervision using concepts such as double materiality to channel credit away from what future Fed officials and the global governance crowd believe are brown sectors and toward what they believe to be green sectors?
So our supervisory focus is only around safety and soundness. It's not around favoring one sector over another.
That's not what your researchers are talking about, though.
So research papers are not the official position of the Federal Reserve. Our researchers publish their research, but that's not an official position.
Okay. The Federal Reserve's Vice Chair for Supervision led a review of Federal Reserve supervision and regulation of SVB and published the results, along with his personal cover letter that included, in my view, some biased and unnecessarily politicized views that are not representative of the full board, I would hope. Shockingly, some of those views showed up word for word, yet without attribution to Vice Chair Barr's report, in the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision's October 2023 report titled Report on the 2023 Banking Turmoil. According to recent information provided to this committee from Chair Powell, quote, Federal Reserve staff contributed to and have opportunities to comment on various work products. So I will have to be following up with you on that, but I'm very concerned about that interaction. So with that, I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman's time is